they approached Kubrick and they said, basically, look, we want you to, they decided that they were going to fake the moon landing, and they wanted Kubrick to put this thing together for him, that they believed he was the only person that could do it.
Hello, you are live on Marfoogle TV. What's going on?
Hey, Marf Mountain Man here. How you doing?
Hey, good. What's going on? So I think you had some stuff that you had to finish. Yeah. Right. Everybody said that you needed to call in the next show and you didn't. So let's get it.
I know. I fell asleep. Damn it! It's my bad. That was my fault. I was on ready to call you and I fell asleep.
Somebody even commented, "You promised Mountain Man and you didn't deliver."
Yeah.
So go ahead.
It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. It was mine. But anyway, so Kubrick, he's definitely the greatest filmmaker of all time. So he started in the 50s with very low-budget films. But his low-budget films forced him to develop some very serious directing techniques. And so 13 years into his career, in 1963, he had his first hit, which was Dr. Strangelove, or Why I Dropped the Atomic Bomb. But before he made that movie, he went to the Pentagon for help with the B-52. The Pentagon read the script, and they realized it was a satire about them and said, no way, we're not helping you. So he went to Aviation Weekly, Pictures, and his own art department, and he created all of that video for the movie. And then 2 Air Force guys went and saw a screening of it before it went public, and they were just blown away by his simulation of the B-52s over Siberia from the film, and his techniques, which were basically scale models and front screen projection that he used. They were just blown away by it, that he could do that without their help. And so NASA is actually part of the Navy. And in 1961, obviously, JFK ordered, right, that we be to the moon before the end of the decade, meaning by the end of 1969. And of course, you know, NASA and the whole gang, they knew that JFK was out of the way in 1964, right after the Kubrick film came out. But the problem they had is that they knew that conventional rocket technology could not get them to reach the moon. So this was a no-go for them. There's other reasons in physics, and I'll get to them in a couple of minutes, or a minute or two if I can, or maybe the next time. But anyway, so in 65, they approached Kubrick. And they said, basically, look, we want you to, they decided that they were going to fake the moon landing, and they wanted Kubrick to put this thing together for him, that they believed he was the only person that could do it. And they were bolstered by his new techniques of scale model and front screen projection. So in 1965, Kubrick starts development of a film called Voyage to the Stars. Okay? And then that takes 4 years to make. It doesn't take 4 years to make this film, because under the cover of Voyage to the Stars, he's making all of the sets and doing everything that he needs to do to get ready for this fake moon landing that's going to happen. And then he renames that movie, The Voyage to the Stars, the Space Odyssey 2001. And the shooting of it was really research and development and a cover for the Apollo imagery that went down. And you could see that there are both ape scenes in that Space Odyssey 2001 and the Apollo landing are perfect examples of front screen projection. And the director by the name of Jay Weidner made 2 films about all the imagery in Kubrick's films, which are excellent for reference purposes if anyone wants to look into it. And so Kubrick had 4 years to do the movie and the lunar landings. And, of course, these were all done on 70-millimeter tape, which, of course, was lost by NASA. They taped over it somehow. It was reminding me of a bunch of episodes that we see on TV.
And it says that it says also that they had him sign a non-disclosure agreement which bound him from releasing the contents of the interview until 15 years after his death. For this part that he played in this thing. That's so weird.
And so what he got for it is he got carte blanche on every movie that he made going forward, and he also had unlimited budget on every movie that he made going forward. That was the deal that he made. But he immediately had buyer's remorse, and he starts to show you, he starts to open the kimono of what the elite, the Illuminati, whatever you want to call them, he starts to open the kimono in Clockwork Orange. Because after the the moon landings, right? Both Buzz and Aldrin and Armstrong, right? They weren't right in interviews that they made and all the different things that are out there that you have them on film, and they're very skittish. Because in Clockwork Orange, he shows you how they keep these people in control, how they do the mind control on them, and that was definitely done on these astronauts, for sure. And then in The Shining, he really deviates from the book. Every time he deviates from the book, from Stephen King's book, and Stephen King hates The Shining because of that, but every time he deviates from the book, it's his testimony that he faked the moon landing. And he's both Jack, obviously, and he goes into the bar, you know what I mean? And because he's killing people, they love him. The bartender tells him, "You can have any drink that you want here. Anything here is on the house for you, Jack. Anything for you," because he's part of the Illuminati. But then when he's a little kid, he's got the buyer's remorse, and that's when he's got the Apollo, sweater on the little kid. And then you see it 2 more times, right, in movies. Right, Wag the Dog, right? Dustin Hoffman plays the Hollywood producer named Stanley, hired by the CIA to fake an incident, and then he disappears. And then finally you have Toy Story, where Buzz Aldrin, right, Buzz Lightyear, sees himself on the TV, and he realizes that he's a fake, and he's the fraud. So remember, he climbs up to the top stairs, and he sees the moon, and then he falls and he breaks. I mean, they show you all the time this stuff in all the different things, and there's also a number of physics reasons why, you can't get to the moon, starting with the Van Allen belt. I mean, we don't need to get into that today, but just understand, because you have EpiPen Island, I like to call him, right? Eyes Wide Shut, right, was basically his unveiling of EpiPen Island and what goes on, because that's all about the New York sex underground. It's very occultic. It's very Masonic. It talks about it shows all the dark sex practices. So what happened? Kubrick died 4 days after they screened the final cut, and then it was recut after his death. Eyes Wide Shut. And he had written the screenplay for AI, and Spielberg took over AI. So Spielberg's on the team.
Wow, this is and you said a couple things I've never heard of, and I just that's
I'll
awesome.
just say one thing about me, Marf. Okay, I won the Massachusetts State Debating Championship at 13 years old as a freshman in high school in 1979, right after my mother died of cancer. And I argued that we should put airbags in cars 5 years before we did in 1984. I understand the burden of proof more than anyone.
No, and you've never. So we've actually looked at. You've called in maybe 7 or 8 times. I don't know how many times at this point. But we've never been able to really say anything that you've said that was false. So I really do. When I've even said to Dex, like, if you do see him, get him in here, because he's always a good call, and I appreciate you, and I appreciate your intelligence and your speaking ability. So a lot of people request you at this point. So I don't know, maybe we can work together and just kind of have you stop by, even if you don't end up calling in or something. Maybe we should do some sort of Skype interview.
I'm all yours. I'm all yours, Marf. But now let's get. If you just one last thing, get past the oohs and ahs of everything that I've said. Right now, connect the dots. Right. Well, the moon landing is fake. Right. Well, the Russians have landed on the moon supposedly. Right. That means that everybody's in bed together. Every country is a corporation. It's all fake. Switzerland, right? They're the only neutral one. Where's CERN? Where's the Basel financial rules coming out of? They're coming out of Switzerland. Something's going on in Switzerland, man. So we got to pull back the covers in Switzerland, Marf. But everything else is a corporation. And so I sent you a slide with every one of the United States. We've been the military arm of the banksters, so we conquered 59 countries or so. I sent you a slide with all the CIA operations since the 50s.
Well, doesn't it make you think?
Overthrown.
Doesn't it? If you truly believe that, doesn't that make you think at that point too? That doesn't mean we're out of danger. That means would you be victim of one of these Fantastic Freddy's that happens because they have to keep the act going?
Exactly.
And they would go to conflict.
It's not like that. It's in a play.
And they would pit us against each other. It's they would just say, well, let's let them fight it out and let's let them do this, even though it's not even necessary. If that was the case, if that truly was the case, we're secretly, there's a phone line between. It's kind of funny, they've got the phone line between the countries, and what if that's? I mean,
I think it's deeper than that. I think the money controls all the countries, so they get the guys on the line because it's a corporation, so it's all owned. So they just get the guys on the line that they need to. So now think about it. I mean, I told you about Hiroshima and Nagasaki, why they were chosen, because all the buildings there were straw and wood. The napalm burned them down perfectly. In 6 months, there were people there, Mark. So that means, and Russia and the U.S. were in on that too with Japan. I just sent you a slide today with the 7 Jewish families, leaders that went to China, and also the 30,000 Jews that went with them in 1936. And they changed their names to Gao and Li and all these different names. I sent you a slide with that tonight too.
OG Johnny B says, it says, a great example of how fake this world is. Wrestling, remember when you found out it was all scripted? I do remember when I found out, and it was a horrible day. I was a little kid, and this is it. There's some crazy stuff out there.
Hey, I sent you the slide too because it can't be explained other than showing you in a slide where I take the Patriots logo and I flip it 90 degrees and it's 11, and I flip the Rams logo and it's 9 for 9/11. That's why they played in the Super Bowl on. By the way, it was 2302, which is 322, which is your Skull and Bones number. I sent you that slide. That was in 2002. And then, of course, the 17-year anniversary, which is Reformation and Rebirth, was last year. What did they have? The Patriots and the Rams again with the 9/11, the Reformation and Rebirth. And remember, the 13 ruling families. What was the score of the game? 10-3, New England, 13. There you go. It's all fake, Marf. It's all fake. And the slide I sent you says that the last refuge of the common man is sports. He believes it's real, and it's fake. And I can show you by all the numbers, I can show you everything that it's fake. First game of the regular season was Chicago and Green Bay, 10-3 Green Bay, 13. There you go. Last game was the Monday night game, right? The guy kicked 28-27 Houston, right? Over 28-27 Houston over New Orleans, right? The guy comes up and he kicks a 58-yard field goal, Mark, to win the game, 30-28. What's 5 + 8? 13. 58-yard field goal. What's 30 + 28? 58. What's 5 + 8? 13. They put their stamp right on it. The NFL draft is just a glorified slave auction. It's no different. No different than a slave auction back in the 1700s, in my mind.
I'm
sorry I've gone over time, but I got a lot
to
say, and you can have me anytime you want, for as long as you want, Skype, whatever you want, Marf, you got it.
All right, man. Well, we will talk later. Yes, we did go over time. I don't want to drop anybody off the back end. Mountain Man, if you guys is your website still the same? I know that you, are you?
Yeah, it's where gratefulmountainrelief.com is the website, and we have a buy one, get one free until the end of September on the website to celebrate our new branding. Certainly part of it was made possible by the Marfoogle family. So, take a bow. There's a bunch of you out there that have, used my stuff, and I really, really, from the heart, can't thank you so much for everything that you've done for me. So
yeah, Mountain Man makes all this stuff, all this cream and stuff. You'll have to check it out. Again, he does not. This isn't associated with us, but yeah, check him out. He's always a great caller, and you guys are all awesome. So. We want to help you guys support each other. Make sure to go over and say hello. All right. Thank you, Mountain Man. You have a great night. All right.
You too, brother.
If you guys do want to help support us, I would seriously think about getting an EMP shield. It is the only protection against a full-on EMP, E1, E2, E3. This is our partner. EMP Shield is a company that hand makes these out of Kansas. They are personally working with the DoD and Homeland Security to harden our grid after T-Man actually signed that bill. It exceeds military standards. It was tested up to 43 times. These things are killer. You can actually get 6 different models that we would care about, which is the home, vehicle, generator, ham radio, solar, and an RV protection device. So I won't drill this into your head, but this is honestly, to this day, the only defense against either a solar flare or a coronal mass ejection or an electromagnetic pulse, or otherwise known as an EMP. It is the world's first device of its kind. So again, go to marfooglenews.com/EMP if you would like to check it out. And yeah, we would really appreciate it. Part of the commission goes to supporting the channel. We are trying to bring on at least 2 more people onto our team, so it would help go towards that as well. Thank you, and thank you. Again, oh, by the way, don't want to forget about this. So they did this for us. So you guys know, being real, they have been the most amazing company to work with. They're American made. Everything is handmade by Americans here. But they also teamed up with Klarna. A lot of people said, I can't afford, $250 to $350. So they went out of their way to change the business to work with the people that could not afford it. One of the inventors and the owners, they are actually serious about getting this in every home in the United States before we have an event. So make sure to check it out. There is a no money upfront and interest-free option where you can break it into 4 payments. So pretty easy to come by. marfooglenews.com/EMP.
You want to know what's going on? What's really going on when it happens? Go to marfooglenews.com and get Marfoogle alerts along with a Discord invitation where you can find your local state group and get together with the Foogle Fam. You'll find fast friends where you'll share prep and intel, and there's even special groups for former and current military. But don't try and steal the valor of those who have really served. It won't go well for you. The Marfoogle Fam is waiting for you.